Hello folks, how is everyone doing? This video is going to be for those of you who have just got their exam results and they're not as good as you had planned for them to be. I find that on the internet everyone talks about positive things all the time, and on YouTube, especially here, everybody's a teacher, everybody's a coach, and people are very willing to share their tips and tricks, including myself, on how to create the best possible result using the best of your resources, how to train yourself to produce a great result in an English speaking exam. There is so much advice spread all over YouTube, but in this video I really want to address something that very few people actually talk about, and in this video I really want to talk to you about getting over a negative result, because I think we do tend to talk about positive things all the time, but we don't pay enough attention to discussing negative things, which are also an important bit of our lives. And if you have got a negative result in your English Cambridge exam, be it IELTS, CAE, CPE, FCE, whatever, we're going to approach that issue in this video today, and I really hope to provide you with a little happy pill to help you create a positive attitude to whatever you have got in terms of your exam result. First and foremost, I want you to bear in mind that negativity is really subjective and positivity is very subjective too. So we're living in the world of subjective perception, right? And please don't worry, I'm not going to tell you that if you failed, that is a good thing, although it might be. So it just depends on your perspective and how you look at it. So we have two major perspectives when it comes to learning things, and generally to living our lives, if you like. So we have this very destructive perspective, right? The destructive way of looking at things, which is majorly represented by our idea that if we fail, we're a failure, right? If I fail, I'm a failure. When we're young, we get programmed by going through various life situations that we need to follow a specific psychological type of behavior when a situation gets fallen on us. So we get a situation, and if we have reacted to the situation negatively through a range of scenarios in our lives, we're very likely to do the same thing all over again when we get a negative situation. It does not only have to do with results, exam results or anything. It might have to do with our school years, with our education system, the type of society we find ourselves living in. So this is so crucial, this is so vital. Very often, I would probably say that most people I know, the majority of people I talk with on a regular basis, tend to have this destructive perspective, this destructive worldview. So here's how it plays out. If you have a destructive worldview, you're going to view everything in negative colours. So everything that does not go your way is going to look like the end of the world to you. So, you will take it really, really negatively. And if you see that your exam result is not the exam result you have aspired for, you may actually feel really frustrated, and you might think that you're a natural failure, that exams are wasted on you, English is wasted on you, there is no point in doing any other type of exam, and you may think that this is over for you, right? You may even start just beating yourself up and just falling into this depressive state, right? And this is really bad on your psyche. So this is not something I want to encourage you to do. The constructive approach, on the other hand, is the approach taken by people who think, okay, so I've done something, the result does not correspond to the result that I did want to get, so how can I learn from it? Thankfully, in all those Cambridge exams, we have those scales, right? We have the grades. So in this day and age, we can very clearly see in which part of the exam we may have needed more training, all right? So you may see that your use of English is not as good as you wanted it to be, or you may actually see that your listening is not as good as you wanted it to be. So now, if you follow the constructive approach, you may actually take that as an action point. So this is actually really cool, because although you have paid quite a sum of money, right? So we need to pay quite a fair amount of money to take those exams, to be admitted to the exam, right? We can look at it in a constructive way by thinking, okay, so I've just paid this amount of money, so that now I know which things I really need to target, which skills I really need to focus on. Isn't it great? Isn't it fantastic? So now I know. I used to think that my speaking was gorgeous, that was top notch, when in fact it's not. Yay, this is great, because there is so much room for improvement. As you may know, there are various types of happiness. There is a whole scale of happiness, by the way. Some psychologists talk about this. So as you may know, there are low consciousness states of happiness and there are higher consciousness states of happiness. And learning is one activity, is one of the few activities that you can do to reach this very, very high level of happiness, this really, really, really great satisfaction level. So if you carry on learning with your action point in mind, the chances are that you will reach the best of your potential, that you will realise your potential. You just need to spend a little bit more time improving on your chances, right? Improving on your speaking skill, or on your listening skill, or on your writing skill, whatever it is that bothers you about your exam performance. You see, our attitudes are purely psychological, so we can change them. You see, we can change them. We don't even have to, to go anywhere. We don't even have to do anything. We just can change our psychological state. We can choose to experience elevated emotions by our own will, right? You see, there are certain techniques that psychotherapists use, that meditation teachers and gurus use to help you feel elevated states of emotion, right? So that your emotions are of a higher quality, if you like, right? So they're of elevated quality. So Joe Dispenza is a great teacher, I think, and he even runs an institute dedicated to studying the effects of elevated states of mind on human psyche. I think he's a great teacher, and I really recommend that you go and check on his work, right, and see what he's up to, because the work he does is really great. It bears psychological fruit. The major theme of his studies is the following: if you experience an elevated state of consciousness, if you experience love, kindness, compassion and everything like that, there is a chance that your body will respond and your chemical brain will produce the emotions that will be on par with the elevated state you'll be experiencing. So this is actually a powerful thing to do if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling blue. This is one thing that you can do. Go and check Joe Dispenza's work, right, and his studies done by his institute. And here is another thing I'd really love to talk to you about here. So the thing we've just covered has to do with your psychological state of being, right, and different perspectives, like polarly different perspectives of looking at things. Well, right now I'm going to talk about something a little bit more objective. Okay, so we're going to move towards the more objective end of the spectrum, right? And this has to do with the actual format of the exams we take. The truth is that very often, and I find this, constantly throughout my career by training people to do the exams, I find this all the time. Very often, those exams don't even reflect the true level of English that you have. All right. You see, those exams are fairly format specific. They're really, specific task oriented, and very often they don't even reflect and convey the true level of English that you have. And I really need that whatever result I get, or being happy. All right. So had this approach for a very long time. Whatever result I got, I was really unhappy because I saw that, okay, there is something I can get just beyond that. So this is not my limit, all right? I really wanted to get over that limit. And very often the exams I took, they were so format specific. They required me to train a specific skill, to master a specific skill, such as the knowledge of the format, the time management I had to follow in order for me to fit into the boundaries of that exam. And actually, those exams had nothing to do with my real understanding of the skill that I was doing that exam in. So this is true of many Cambridge exams, especially it may be the case if you're a creative person, right? If you're like an artistic person, if you're nothing like, this left brain analytical thinker. So if you like the analytical approach, then the chances tend to be a little bit higher. This is what the stats have to offer us, really. But if you're more of a creative type thinker, right, then you might be looking for this hidden idea behind every line, and then you're more likely to not provide the right answer when it comes to filling out the answer sheet. So there are so many reasons why we may fail in exams. They have to do with psychological factors, our mood, our physical state, right? So if you're ill, if you've got a cold, if you're a little bit drained emotionally, things like that. Could have to do with your position in the classroom, the quality of the recording, a whole range of things like that. So I want you to focus on a few things as a result of this video. If you have got an unsatisfactory result, right, what I want you to do is first look at it from a constructive perspective. Okay, so what can this teach me? What should I really work on? Which skills should I improve? Secondly, I want you to think how you can improve those little nuances, right? How you can improve your psychological state of being while preparing for the exam. What can you actually do to eat well, to think about your own nutrition? We tend to think of those things in the modern day society as, not really dependent on one another, when in fact they really do. So the food you eat really affects your mood, it affects your exam performance. We have different brain activity during different periods of the day, during different times of the day. So you could take this into account as well. So continue working on your general English as a general base for every result you want to get, right? So if you're planning to take an English exam, it's very important that you continue to improve on your general English level, because all of those exams, especially the high level ones, have to do with vocabulary, right? So just focusing on vocabulary and just trying to absorb the natural sound of the English language would be a great idea. And as usual, I would suggest that you do quite a lot of listening on a regular basis. Surround yourself with English as much as you can, and I really hope to talk to you again in our next video, where I'll be sharing some other things with you